Good morning. I want to thank you all for joining me this morning for us to see a new day, for us to see a new opportunity in life. Today, we're going to close up and finish up what we started here from about maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago. What's up, Tommy Lad? We started this a couple months ago where our focus was on Proverbs, right? The book of Proverbs. And for those who have never read the book of Proverbs, if you've been watching every other week, every other week, that you were able to listen to the book of Proverbs read by me. And now that we're at the end of Proverbs, I hope that you have taken the time and the opportunity to read Proverbs for yourself. I hope you decided to go through the book of Proverbs by yourself, for yourself, to understand what the book of Proverbs is all about. Um, Proverbs is a very, very important book in the Bible because it gives you knowledge, wisdom, understanding. It teaches you the importance of those things, of those key items. By teaching you these things, by showing you these things, it gives you the opportunity. Proverbs gives you the opportunity to see things from a different perspective in life, to look at things from a different light in life. Um, and I hope that this morning we get to not only finish the book of Proverbs, but it gives us a good understanding. It gives us a good idea of what God has been trying to promote and show us throughout this book. Good morning, Mimi. How you doing? So, without further ado, this I don't know how long this proverb is, but we're going to stretch this out to 7 o'clock. And tomorrow we're going to start a new devotion topic, a topic of which I think would be very beneficial to all of us in our development and in our lives. So let's pray. Father God in heaven, we want to thank you again for your love and your mercy, waking us up in the morning to see a new day. We ask you, Lord, that as we finish up the book of Proverbs, that as we read this chapter, Lord God, we will continue to understand who you are, continue to lean on you, continue to be focused on your word. Lord, we thank you for your mercies and your guidance. We thank you for all that you've done in Christ's name. Amen. Okay. What's up, Matt? Good to see you, bro. Retro game girl. Good to see you. All right. So once again, we're on 31. Blazing Queen. Good to see you this morning. King Lemuel. King Lemuel. I don't know who King Lemuel is as it relates to history, but he had to be a knowledgeable king if his writings and his sayings are actually in the Bible. So yeah. So the sayings of King Lemuel contains the messages which his mother taught him. So what we're going to learn here this morning is messages from a king that was taught to him from his mother. Before we get started, a saying that I always used to hear is that you can tell how a man treats his woman. Uh, no. It goes, a man treats his woman as a princess because he was raised by a queen, right? Um, and what that says is basically, as it's said, if a man can treat his wife, treat his girlfriend, treat the one he loved as a princess, right? Meaning he shields her, covers her, protects her. That goes to show the type of queen who raised him, right? My mother is a queen. My mother raised me along with my father, and I always see my mother as a queen. I don't see my mother as anything else. Once loved, how you doing this morning? I don't see my mother as just another woman who just took up the responsibility. My mother's a queen. So the woman that I would love in my life, she will be a princess because I was raised by a queen, right? Walker V, how you doing this morning? Also, my grandmother, she's also a queen. But my grandmother raised, you know, 6 men. She raised 6 men, my 6 uncles. She raised 6 men and every man that came after. So all of my cousins, all my first cousins, including myself and my younger brother, she raised us. And because she raised us and because Big Booty Judy, how you doing today? Um, because she raised us, we were able to not only have a better life, but for us to also have a stronger connection to how we should treat others. And these are things that I can't erase because I was blessed to have that type of foundation. Now, some people may not have that foundation, meaning they were raised with their mother, raised with their father, raised with both parents, raised with their original parents. Some people don't have that privilege. But you can still be raised by someone who is a motherly figure, who is a fatherly figure. You can still be raised by people who are different items, different figures in your life. You can still be raised by them. How you doing, Sabrina? You can still be raised by people of those type of persuasions. So this morning, that's what we're going to be looking at. This King Lemuel is going to be talking to us based on the teachings that was given to him by his mom. All right, so verse 2. Let's go right into it. My son of my womb, my son of my bowels, do not waste your strength on women, on those who ruin kings. Okay, so let's stop right there. So automatically, this mother, Bella Boo, how you doing this morning? This mother right here is actually explaining something to her son. Don't waste your strength on women, on those who ruin kings. Right now, this doesn't go to all women because not all women does this. Some women are there in people's lives to elevate them, especially a man who's considered to be a king. Every man is considered to be a king. Every woman is considered to be a queen. So there's not every woman that comes into a man's life is going to destroy that life or ruin that life. Not at all. There are women who elevate their men, just as men need good women to help elevate them. The saying goes, behind every good man, there's a good woman, right? And there's an importance to that saying because behind every good man, especially the decision-making portion, there's always a woman who has a different mindset and a different eye lens to the situation. See, my father, he used to have to make all the decisions in the house. And I used to think that it was only my father's decision that ran in the house. But then when I got older and I started to see how the decision making went, I saw that my father leaned heavily on my mother. Even though he would be the figurehead and he would be the one that has the final say, he would always bring it to my mother to try to give or get some type of information or get some type of understanding to the situation. He wouldn't make a rash decision quickly. He would always come to my mom's and ask her, what do you think? And that's what you're supposed to do. As a man who's with a woman, you should always look to her opinions. You should value her opinion because at the end of the day, her opinion is going to help you make a clear decision. But then again, on the flip side of that, you also have women who are not there to help with the development of a man, but is there to take, and then once she got everything she needs, she goes on to the next. We call those gold diggers. So, food for thought. Verse 4. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, to guzzle wine. Rulers should not crave alcohol. For if they drink, they may forget the laws and not give justice to the opposed. So basically what this verse is saying is basically how we should be very mindful of what we drink and how much we drink, how much we consume. See, sometimes we can consume too much food, too much alcohol, and by consuming too much, we could then end up forgetting certain things, forgetting what we've done, what we've said. That's why it's very, very important that if you're going to drink, that you drink responsibly. And if you're going to drink, then make sure you drink with people you trust. See, me, I'm a person who I've never had a drink in my life, ever. I've never had a drink. I've never had a beer. I've never had wine. I've never had any of that stuff because I've seen the results of what drinking too much can do. I've seen my friends, I've seen my own family members drink too much to where they can't stand, drink too much to where they cannot hold their bowels, where they can't hold their food in their stomach. And I will be the one to have to clean them. I will have to be the one to lift them up. I will have to be the one to drag them to their home. I remember there was a time where me and my friends went out and we were having a good time. And then we came back to one of my friends' house, and they decided to continue their partying at my friend's house. I was the designated driver. And as I was there chilling with them and relaxing with them, they started to go crazy. They started to drinking more and more. And then all of a sudden, every one of them started to pass out drunk. So one of my friends who lived across the street, I literally carried him just like the bodyguard, and yeah, that whole thing. I carried him all the way to his house. I opened his door. I got him in his bed. Krista, how you doing this morning? I got him in his bed. I tucked him in. I said, yo, bro, go to sleep. Rosie, how you doing this morning? Good to see you. I did all that stuff for my friend because I wanted my friend to realize that, I care for you and I don't need you walking around, wandering around drunk because anything can happen. So after I did that, I went back to my other friend's house and I saw them all still passed out. So I kind of picked them up and I put them all in different areas to make sure that they were safe. I didn't walk them upstairs because I didn't want them to go upstairs. And then I hear that they walk upstairs, they fall backwards, and then they're paralyzed or something like that. So I made sure all of them got to where they needed to get to, and I stayed there for an hour. I stayed there for an hour to make sure that they stay asleep. That was something that I did. That was what I believed in as far as helping my friends out. At the end of the day, I'm responsible for them. Even though I'm not the one that's drinking, I'm responsible for them. So when it says right here in verse 4 and 5 that do not guzzle wine, or a ruler should not crave alcohol, for if they drink, they may forget the law and not give justice to the opposed. Alcohol is for the dying, and wine is for those in bitter distress. Let them drink and forget their poverty and remember their troubles no more. That's what most people do when it comes to drinking too much. They try to suppress pain. They try to suppress anguish. They're going through a hard time and they don't want to deal with that hard time anymore. So they temporarily want to remove that hard time from themselves so that they can focus on that. I mean, that's what some people do. And because that's what some people do, those who are surrounding them have to be the one to try to talk to them, to tell them, this doesn't have to be your option in life. You don't have to use this as a way to escape. There's a different way to escape. I mean, sometimes you don't want to deal with the harsh reality of life, right? When people die in your life, you want to suppress that pain. You want to get rid of that anguish. So you end up doing all types of things, drinking all types of things, trying to fight the pain, fight the urge. Angie, how you doing this morning? You want to suppress all that because you don't want to deal with all that. I get it. But we also have to remember that while doing that, we are also damaging ourselves. We're damaging our ability to judge a situation. We're damaging our impairment. So we have to be very mindful and very cautious of how much we consume, and understand that by consuming so much to try to block out certain memories, you will not only block out those memories temporarily, but you will also damage yourself in the process. So let's be careful when it comes to the drinking. Verse 8. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Ensure justice for those being crushed. And yes, speak up for the poor and helpless and see that they get justice. That right there is not only for the king, but is also for every one of us. There are people in our lives who can't speak for themselves, don't have the tools, don't have the skills, don't have the knowledge to speak for themselves, who are nervous about stuff, who are scared about life. And sometimes they need someone to say something. Sometimes they need someone to step up for them. I'm the type of person who I don't like to get involved in people's business, but if I see something that's wrong, I'm going to say something. How you doing, Juan? I'm going to say something if it's wrong, and I'm not going to be scared about saying it because it's the right thing to say. It's the right thing to do. See, but we do have people who need you to step up and to say something. Sometimes at your job, if you see something going on, if you see some type of injustice, you get nervous because you don't want to say something because you don't want to rock the boat. But you never know what you can say or what you can do that can change the boat. You could change the current. You could change the direction. You could change how people see you and how people see a situation by saying something. We got to remember that there are people around us who are defenseless. People around us who, SD Karen, how are you doing this morning? There are people around us who can't say certain things, can't speak for themselves. And when you're given the ability to talk, to say it on their behalf. If you see that something is wrong, say something about it. Too far, too long, we've been seeing stuff that is just wrong and we don't say nothing about it. And because we don't say nothing about it, it continues. We see that a lot in our government. Stuff goes on, stuff goes down in our government, and people just want to turn a blind eye to it. They don't want to say anything about it because they don't want to rock the political boat. They don't want to rock the boat that they're currently in. They don't want people to say something. They don't want the president to have their eye on them. They don't want to do these things. So because of that, keep their mouth shut. And they'll allow injustice to happen. Could you imagine if no one said anything about families being separated at the border? Would they have ever stepped in and did anything? Absolutely not, because that doesn't affect their family. That doesn't affect their pocket. That doesn't affect their financial gain or their political status. None of that is affected by children being stripped away from their parents at the border. So because none of that stuff bothers them, none of that stuff matters, they're not going to say anything. And that's just what it is. But it's always been like that. Because of your political party, because of your social status, you're not going to rock the boat and say anything wrong about the things of injustice because you don't want to mess up anything that you got going on. Because you don't want to mess up anything you got going on, you're not going to say anything whatsoever. I need you to understand that we have to say something. We have the ability to step up. So don't be scared not to step up. You got to step up. Verse 10. A wife of a noble character. A wife of a noble character. So at this point right here, I'm probably going to be talking to most of the women at this point. Because in this point of the chapter, Rachel, how you doing today? Good to see you. Good to see you. As we look into the next couple of verses in this particular chapter, we're in Proverbs 31, by the way. It's speaking to the women, a wife of noble character. Verse 10. Who can find a virtuous and capable woman? She is more precious than rubies. Her husband can trust her, and she will greatly enrich his life. She brings him good, not harm, all days of her life. Let's stop right there. Now, a woman being virtuous and capable is something that happens over time. Now, a lot of things I won't be able to relate to when it comes to women because clearly I'm not that. But I have noticed I have a lot of sisters. I have three sisters, right? I have three sisters. I have I have four aunts. Yeah, I have four aunts. I have a whole bunch of cousins, nieces and stuff like that. So in other words, I'm surrounded by women, right? And my whole entire life growing up as a kid, before my younger brother came along, I was the youngest in the family. I was the baby in the family, and I had two older sisters. My third sister, she lived elsewhere or whatever. And I lived in a house with full of women. So I had an idea of what a virtuous woman and a capable woman was because I always watched my mother. And because I always watched my mother, I always used to say that whenever I get married, my mother, the character of my mother is who I would want to marry because my mother always made sure that there was food on the table and my mother worked a full-time job. While my father worked a full-time job as well, my father also worked, other jobs in order to pay the rent and everything like that and take care of all the bills. So my father was always the one working and my mother, she worked as well because my mother didn't want to be a housewife. Nothing's wrong with a housewife. She came from a place where in the Caribbean, she had to work. So that was just what it was. That's all my mother knew. So me watching my mother all the time was seeing the virtuous of a woman. And with my sisters, they were very active in school as well. One of my sisters, she was very intelligent. She wanted to be an astronaut at one point in her life, but then, this was in the early 90s. Yeah, the early 90s. She got pregnant. It was like a huge boom of pregnancies between like 16-year-olds and stuff like that. I know I'm putting that business on Front Street, but she does that herself. So she's cool with it. But, that was what my sister did. And my other sister, she pretty much did the same thing, but instead she went to the army. So, I was watching these different characteristics from a woman, and that's what I always look for when it comes to a woman. If a woman is virtuous, where she can stand on her own 2 feet, where she can make different decisions for herself, that she doesn't need nobody to validate her, but she can also validate someone else. I always saw that to be powerful. I always saw that to be powerful. Mandy, how you doing? At the end of the day, a woman being able to make those choices and decisions in her life and in the life of others is very powerful. That's why I give so much respect to single mothers, because single mothers, one, didn't make the child on their own, but two, they have to take care of the child, because they cannot say, well, I ain't gonna take care of this child because the man ain't there to take care of the child. Nah, that's not the case. Single women have to step up. They have to play the role as father, mother, grandmother, sometimes friend, protector, provider. They got to play a lot of roles. So if a woman is able to do all that stuff without looking for any type of validation from anybody else or from any handouts, because some women, they don't accept any handouts. They want to do it all on their own. I have nothing but respect for them, because at the end of the day, you can't manufacture that. You can't teach that. It has to be innate. It has to be something within that comes out and expresses itself. Bible says in the same verse 10, it says, she's more precious than rubies. That's how the Bible describes a virtuous and capable woman, that she is more valuable and more precious than rubies. Her husband can trust her, and she will greatly enrich his life. Now, it doesn't say anything about the husband enriching her life. It says nothing about that. It is talking about she is an enrichment to him. That means that the things that he has been missing his entire life can only be found by his wife. The different things that he needs in life, as far as for him to go for the goal, and to have some type of admiration and what's the word I'm looking for? Determination in life, has to get that from his wife, because she has to enrich him. She enriches him by just being in his presence, by helping him when he has hard decisions. He trusts her because he trusts in her decision making. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. It doesn't say all the days of his life, all the days of her life. She finds wool and flax and bushels and spins it. She is like a merchant ship bringing her food from afar. She gets up before the dawn to prepare breakfast for her household and plans the day's work for her servant girls. Now, the information here that they're describing is a little bit outdated. This is for way back in these days, what women used to do, but I see those same virtues from women today. Again, example of my mother. My mother used to always make sure that there was breakfast prepared and ready for us before she went to work. She would always make sure that there's some type of food, and if there was no food, then she would always make sure that the cereal boxes were out from off of the high counter, so that me and my brother didn't have to reach over to get it. She always made sure that it was there so that we could eat. Or she'll always make sure that there's pancakes, there's eggs, she'll always cook. She'll always be ready. But that's what my mother was always known for. My mother has been a mother for quite some time. So, she knew how to do these things. And not only that, she was the second out of 10. So she was the first girl, second child out of 10 children. So she had to do this on a regular. Excuse me. All right. Pardon me. It says here, she's like a merchant ship bringing her food from afar. That was verse 14. By her bringing her food from afar, that's not physical food that she's bringing, but she's bringing a richness. She's bringing a education. She's bringing something to her people, to her children, to her husband. And by her bringing that to her husband can't get that from anywhere else. He can't get that from another source. He can't get that from anybody else. He can only get that from her. Verse 16, she goes to inspect a field and buys it. With her earnings, she plants a vineyard. She is energetic and strong and a hard worker. Verse 17, let's look at that. She is energetic, strong, and a hard worker. This right here, those attributes should be describing each and every woman who listens to this broadcast. Because some women believe that they need someone to try to show them who they are. Some women believe that they need someone to tell them that they're doing a good job. Some women need that. I want to encourage the women in this broadcast. I'll get back to you, man. The women in this broadcast. I want you to understand that you are virtuous in nature. That not only are you virtuous in nature, you do something that no man could ever do, and that is produce life. You must carry a child within your body, another body within your body. Your nourishment has to come from you to your baby. And as your baby grows, it's important. Issa, how you doing today, man? It's important that you continue to carry that virtue. You know, one of my sisters at church, you know, me and her, we always talk about, you know, we're Trap City, you know, because you know she works out, I work out, you know, and one of our distinctive features is our traps, right? You have your shoulders, and then you have your traps up here, you know. So those are our distinctive features. You know, we sit there, we be going like this, like, yeah, look at us, we big, yeah, you know, and that you know that's my sister for that, you know. But then you know, my sister, she got pregnant and everything like that. You know, she married and her husband, he big too, and me and him, we you know, we like brothers and everything like that. You know, so when I found out she was pregnant, I said, "Yo, how you feeling?" She was like, you know, she was trying to keep it under wraps, but she's excited. She can't wait to have this child, and they can't wait to have this baby. And I'm saying, yo, you know what? I can't wait for you guys to have this baby because that baby is gonna be taught by two of the best people that I know, right? Because not only do I have respect for him, but I have a lot of respect for her because she's very outgoing. You know, she was never the type to cower behind anybody. Even though sometimes she feels self-conscious, she's very, very powerful, especially in her speaking. Like when she talks, she has a certain type of presence to when she talks. You know, and when I see stuff like that, I'm like, yo, you're gonna be good. You know, your children's gonna be good. You're gonna be good because you're that type of person that my man's over here needs because you're a virtuous woman. You know, um, my father's Jamaican, right? And I like to consider myself Jamaican as well. You know, because everything I learned from my father. You know, so when it came to reggae music was a huge thing in my house. You know, my father knew all the old reggae artists: Bob Marley, Gregory Isaac, Dennis Brown, Freddie McGregor, Elton you know, all those big names. My father knew them personally, right? So there was a song that Gregory Isaac sings called um, Con- Conscious, no, Continent Woman. And the song was basically describing different type of women, how virtuous women are, how majestic women are, how powerful women are. And they're not singing this song just to, you know, get women to crowd over them. They're just basically preaching facts. At the end of the day, a woman is very virtuous. A woman is powerful. And just because some women they get talked down to by people of higher figures, that's why we have a Me Too movement right now, where women are standing up to those who are in power that like to take advantage of their power to have them do things so that they can feel like they have some type of power. That's why I'm so happy that this movement is happening and men are being, and some women are being held accountable for the things that they've done in their past. I think that's important. Verse 18. She makes sure as her dealing are profitable, her lamps burning late into the night. Her hands are busy spinning thread, her fingers twisting fiber. She extends her helping hand to the poor and opens her arms to the needy. She has no fear she has no fear of the winter for her household, for everyone has warm clothing. She makes her own bedspread. She dresses in fine linen and purple gowns. Now, this whole time we have been focusing on the women in this particular passage. You don't really hear much about the men. They're not really speaking about the men because this entire chapter, this entire book of Proverbs has been speaking to both men and women. But remember, we are reading the sayings of King Lemuel. And because we're reading the sayings of King Lemuel, we're focused on what King Lemuel is saying and what he is describing when it comes to women. And it seems like he's using the example of his own mother because it says it in the beginning. These are sayings that his mother gave him. Once again, it explains and it shows the importance of a woman, how a woman is so vital to the fabric of a man, how a woman is so important that a man can only find his way through life through her. I know that you are virtuous, and don't let nobody ever tell you otherwise. That's why I cringe and I get frustrated and I get mad when I hear men calling women the B word. In fact, I get that way when I hear women calling each other the B word. And I don't, and even though it might not seem like it's a derogatory word to you because you don't use it in that light, it's known as a derogatory word. Doesn't matter how you see it. That's just like when black people use the N word. Oh, it's not racist because we're to get no, it's racist. It doesn't matter if it's you saying it to someone else who looks just like you. It's racist. Period. You know, same thing goes for white people calling each other the C word. It's the same thing. Spanish people calling each other the S word. It's the same thing, same concept. I don't understand how that doesn't click for you. I don't get it. But the point of the matter is, I just cringe when I see stuff like that because you should see yourself much more than just that. A woman should see their friends as much more than that. That's why I love the women that I'm around at my church because they see themselves as queens. They treat themselves as queens. They don't talk down to each other. They don't say something derogatory about each other, even though they come from different backgrounds. They come from different ways of life. They deal with things differently. At the end of the day, they don't go ahead and they say, "Yo, that's my," they don't say that because that's not important. That's not how you describe somebody. You describe each other as virtuous, powerful women. And because you are virtuous and powerful women, Naija, how you doing today? Because you're virtuous and powerful women, you should carry yourself such as that. If you don't hear that enough, if you don't hear people tell you that, then I'm going to tell you that right now. And for those on Live Me, just know that when I'm in your broadcast, that's how I see you. I see you as a virtuous woman. And that's just what it is, right? But you should always carry yourself like that because you are that. You are that. You're virtuous. And these last few verses that we've been reading has been describing a virtuous woman, have been describing an important woman, the perfect type of wife. You are that. So don't forget. Verse 23. Her husband is well known in the city gates. Where he sits with the other civic leaders, she makes belted linen garments and sashes to sell to the merchants. She is clothed with strength and dignity. Hey, Rainey. She is clothed with strength and dignity. She laughs without fear of the future. When she speaks, her words are wise, and she gives instruction with kindness. And she gives instruction with kindness. She is carefully watching everything in her household and suffers nothing from laziness. Her children stand and bless her. Her husband praises her. As women, you must carry yourself with strength and dignity. If you cower behind a man, because that's what the man tells you to do, he takes your strength. He takes your dignity. See, my past relationships, that was never my intention. If I'm going to be the leader, then let me lead. But I'm always going to come to you and ask you what you think, because this is a partnership. This is 50-50. I'm the head, you're the tail. If I'm the head, it is up to the tail to make sure that the head is going straight. Because I could only see things, but the tail could see other things. And it's not a derogatory way of looking at it. It's not a bad way of looking at it. It's just a way of looking at things from the perspective of a unit, of a team. When it says that she laughs without fear of the future, a woman doesn't worry as much as a man worries about the future. See, a man has to worry about what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen next, while a woman don't need to worry about that and doesn't really worry about that because she knows that everything is going to be okay. That's a lot of trusted faith that a woman has that men tend to lack. She speaks and her words are wise, and she gives instruction with kindness. Clemmy, how you doing today? Good to see you, bro. She carefully watches everything in her household and suffers nothing. She suffers nothing from laziness. Her children stand and pray and bless her, and her husband praise her. They say, "There are many virtuous and capable women in the world, but you surpass them all." That's how a husband views his wife. And understand that each woman here, well, I can't say that because some women don't see the need to date men. You know, they're lesbians, and that's totally okay. That's your prerogative. That's your business. You know, I don't judge at all. You know, if that's what makes you happy, if that's where your heart is, then go where your heart is. You know, I have my own personal beliefs about it, but like this is not the forum for it. This is a form of encouragement, a form of giving you strength when you might feel weak. Now, what they're saying that this woman surpasses all virtuous and capable women in the world, and they're just describing their mother and their wife. So understand that someday you will become a mother if you're not a mother already. And that's how your children are going to see you. Like I see my mother as the most virtuous, capable woman on the planet. But that's just my opinion regarding my mother. Joanne, how you doing today? Verse 30. Charm is deceptive and beauty does not last. But a woman who fears the Lord will be greatly praised. Serena, how you doing today? Good to see you. That epic entrance, the wings and everything like that. So we've been talking about a virtuous, capable woman this entire broadcast. This is coming from Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31 is a king describing a virtuous, capable woman. And he's getting this information from his own mother. And he's sharing that with us. And I'm sharing that with y'all. It says, charm is deceptive and beauty doesn't last. But a woman who fears the Lord will be greatly praised. Women have women have a lot more strength than us men will truly understand. Like it took me until I was a teenager for me to actually understand how strong a woman is. And I was always thinking in my mind, oh, because I'm a man, I'm the boss. I have the strength. You know, no woman is going to be stronger than me. I'm gonna tell you what happened, right? So I go camping a lot. I like to go camping. I love camping. So one weekend we went camping, me and a group of kids from my church, along with a group of kids from another church, and it was like we were two leaders. It was us, my older brother, not my actual older brother, like my spiritual older brother, whatever. It was three of us. We all decided to take our kids, and then our sisters, our spiritual sisters, they decided to take their group, and we all came together for an impromptu camping trip. So during this camping trip, we were having a great time. We set up camp and everything like that. We had some great discussions and topics for our kids. You know, we did a good job. It was unsanctioned. It was good. So we had a game of touch for 20, maybe 2021, right? So back in those, I'm a lot fat. Back in those days, I was invincible, at least in my mind. So we playing this touch football, and you know, I'm the wide receiver, so they throwing it at catching, I'm running. You know, nobody's touching me, nobody's catching me. I'm doing it until my sister steps in. And all I remember is, you know, doing it, feeling myself, head getting big. So my boy throws it, I run, I catch, I do like one of them Odell Beckham catches, catch it with one hand. I'm thinking I'm the king of the world, and then all of a sudden, I'm in the air a lot longer than I'm supposed to be. And I'm sitting there like, I catch it, I'm like, why am I in the air longer than I'm looking down, and my sister catches my legs. As I jumped up to catch the ball, she catches my leg. She holds my legs. And as she holds my legs, she literally scoop slammed me and brought me down. I was like this, you know, those slow motion joints. Boom, hit the ground, and everybody saw it. Everybody literally stopped the play to watch her slam me. And I was on the ground, and I was just laying there. And she was like, she looked over, and then she crouched down and looked over at me like, yo, you all right? And I was like, I don't want to play no more. I don't want to play. Yo, that was a huge blow to my ego, right? That was a huge blow to my ego. But that day I learned something. I learned that I have to respect a woman's strength. Even though I'm like, yo, how does this even work? How is this even possible? I'm strong, I'm fast. How could that even happen? None of the guys could catch me, but my sister, a woman, she caught me. Ever since that day, I've never forgotten that day, and I've never let that day down. Every time I see her, I say, "Yo, just don't lift me up and slam me. You know, don't embarrass me in front of everybody. You know, because that's what my sister did. But it wasn't to embarrass me or anything like that. It was to show that, you know, show the day I respected her strength because her strength showed the character that she is. This is the last verse right here, and then we're gonna pray and finish up. Verse 31. Reward her for all she has done. Let her deeds publicly declare her praise. At the end of the day, this entire chapter was dedicated to women. Proverbs is a very important book in the Bible because Proverbs is dedicated to wisdom, understanding, knowledge, strength, all different attributes that we need. There's nothing religious about the book of Proverbs. It doesn't speak to one religion whatsoever. The book of Proverbs is merely a book to explain how we should live together on the same rock, how we should live in each other's homes, how we should treat each other, how we should make decisions, how we should be smart in our decisions, how sometimes we should speak and sometimes we should remain silent, how sometimes we should step up when sometimes we should fall back, how we should express ourselves rather than not express ourselves in a certain way. See, that's what the book of Proverbs is all about. And this particular chapter here describes the virtue and the capability of a woman. So I would encourage you to read this chapter again for yourself, especially if you're a woman. And if you're a man, to understand the importance of a woman, to understand why a woman is important. You'll be very surprised what you read and what you may get from it. So we're going to do our roll call. We're going to pray. And we're going to close out. And then tomorrow morning, bright and early, we're going to start a new topic, new discussion. All right? So let's start with Facebook. My man Matt, good to see you, man. Rosie, good to see you, my sister. Joanne, good to see you, my sister. Let's go to Live Me. Serena Love, always good to see you, Serena Love. I'll be seeing you from time to time, and we'll be having some good discussions as well. So good to see you. Once Loved, good to see you. Keen Lee 18, good to see you this morning. Maddie, good to see you this morning. I see Angie L, good to see you. Diane, good to see you. I don't know if I said that right. Sabrina, good to see you this morning. Rachel, good to see you this morning. Walking V, blessings, good to see you. Blazing Queen, good to see you this morning. Retro Game Girl, blessings, good to see you. Mimi, my sister, good to see you this morning. Let me make sure I got anybody. Two Jizzle 662. I think I said it right. But if I didn't, my bad. Let's see. Rainy P, good to see you this morning. Issa, good to see you this morning. Juan, blessings, man. If I missed anybody, Ariel, good to see you. Bella Boo, good to see you. Big Booty Judy, good to see you. Block Boy DJ, blessings, good to see you. Yeah, all right. If I missed anybody else, I do apologize for that. But good to see you guys nonetheless. Over here, Club's ministry page. Paul, good to see you, bro. And my mother Marisol, blessings. All right, y'all. Next time you see me, I'm talking. Wait, hold on, pause. Next time you see me, I'm taking your number one. Okay, that's what's up. I think my number one has been my number one for like mad long. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. I appreciate it. I'll be checking you out. I mean, like I said, I've been checking you out, but like I'll be watching your broadcast from time to time. So yeah, definitely. That's what's up. All right, people, let's pray. Father God, we just want to thank you, Lord, for giving us this time, this moment to spend with you. We'd like to thank you, Lord, for giving us this opportunity to spend time speaking about women, dear Father God. Lord, women don't get enough credit, attention that they deserve because they are considered to be the lesser species of man, and which is absolutely false. Women are on the same level as men. Yes, men has been ordained by you to be the head of the household, to be the leader, as you did for Adam, as you did for all the men who came after Adam, but you've also put women in their lives as well to help them balance out, to help them make better decisions, to help them be stronger men in the process. You know, no man has come here without coming through a woman. So a woman is needed and is essential in order for man to even be here. So Lord God, help us to understand and remember the importance of a woman, and to look at her virtue and to share in her virtue and to be appreciative of who she is. Continue to guide us and bless us throughout this day. Continue to help us throughout this week, Lord God, as we wind down our weekend and get ready for the week ahead. Lord, I pray that everything that we have in store and in front of us will be ready, and we'll be able to go out there and accomplish what is needed to accomplish. Lord, we love you. We thank you in Christ's name. Amen. Amen. Mocha, what's up? We about to be out. Good to see you this morning, though, Mocha. But yeah, definitely. Ruby Queen, good to see you. Once again, everybody, thank you for joining me this morning. Thank you for your input. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate y'all. It's all good. It's all good. You're late. You can always check the rebroadcast to see what we talked about. You can always check my YouTube channel. I have a YouTube channel that records every single devotion. It's in Club Ministry. If you type in YouTube, Club CULBZ Ministry, you'll see it pop up. All right. Awesome. Great. All right, people. So once again, just want to thank y'all for joining me this morning. You guys have a great day. Have a blessed day. Have a strong day. It's Friday. It's Sunday. My bad. It's Sunday. So have a good Sunday. Have a good time. I hope that each and every one of you is blessed and will be blessed. At the end of the day, respect the virtuous woman in your life. If it's your mother, if it's your wife, it's your niece, your cousin, your aunt, your sister, whoever it is, let them be a virtue to you. So take care, everybody. Be blessed.